Yeah, so many. Make sure you put up the best one.
Good evening. We are here today to present the SDP's third and fourth candidate for the upcoming general elections. Again here we are presenting the candidates at this stage, and we will be announcing the lineup in the different wards in the coming days. On my right is Ms. Jaslyn Goh. She has been with the party for many years, and she has contributed to a lot of the party in many areas. She is currently the Assistant Treasurer, and she's also involved in our fundraising activities. Okay. On my left here is Professor Paul Tambaya. He is not a stranger to many of you, so is Jaslyn. She's been in the scene for many years. Paul is a professor of medicine and a senior consultant physician at a major teaching hospital in Singapore. He has been active with the SDP since before the GE 2011 elections, and he was involved in our pre-general election exercise Lightning Block in 2010. And he even spoke at the SDP rally at Boat Quay during the 2011 general elections. He was a key part of the team of specialists who put together the SDP healthcare plan and the SDP education policy. He is married to Siok Kwan Tambaya, who is a senior lecturer in the marketing department in the NUS. I now hand you over to Professor Paul Tambaya so he can make his introduction. Paul?
Thanks, Jeff. So as many of you know, my name is Dr. Paul Anand Tambaya. I'm a professor of medicine, and I'm also a senior consultant physician. Many people ask me this question, you have a relatively comfortable life as a doctor and a professor, so why do you get involved in politics? And my answer is that I feel that there are many things that could be better in Singapore. There are many people in Singapore who are struggling within the system, and even though we have an excellent healthcare system, we have very good doctors, very good nurses, very good allied health professionals, but the healthcare financing system is based on certain assumptions which, I think I've said this before, are actually morally questionable. The fact is that we in the SDP believe that healthcare is a basic human right. It is not a commodity that needs to be traded. Many people also ask me then, so why do you get involved with the SDP of all parties? And my response is very simple. The SDP has a very clearly defined philosophy. The SDP believes in building a democratic society based on justice and equality. The SDP believes in social justice, and the SDP also believes and trusts in the people of Singapore. We have the confidence that the people of Singapore know what is good for themselves. They are mature enough, they're educated enough to choose for themselves. We don't need some natural aristocrats telling us what to do. We want to listen to the people, and we want to be their voice in Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I hand you over to Ms. Jaslyn. All right, give a warm welcome.
Thank you. As always, the MC and the moderator of SDP event, I think I'm used to introducing other people, so let me also introduce myself. I suppose mine is a rag to rough and tumble story. At the age of 12, I actually started working to earn my own keep. During the school holidays, I would travel all the way from where I stayed back then in Bukit Merah to Paya Lebar just to make $5 a day at a garment factory. This $5 a day actually helped me to school, get me to buy books, pay for my school fees. I continued to work from secondary 2 onwards at McDonald's and all over the places just to put myself through school and help my family financially. However, juggling between school and work took a lot of toll out of me, and it actually wore me out, and I decided not to further my studies. I went on to accumulate more than 10 years of experience in sales and marketing in various industries, but especially in automobile. I am currently a sales director in the company my husband and me started up back in 2004 when my first child was born. In the past 11 years, my husband and I, we have braved through all manners of problems running a SME, a small and medium-sized company. From just the two of us with 3 workers, we have actually grown into a company with about 30 workers. And today our company enjoys an annual turnover of more than 2 million. As a sales director, I oversee sales operation and conduct training from time to time to ensure our salespeople are well trained in developing relationships both in Singapore and region. In addition, together with the sales team, I develop strategies, tactics, sales plan, and profit target. I have a very important message for Singaporeans. I feel strongly that attitude in life surpasses that of academic qualifications. Don't worry about the hard knock in life, but don't stop learning from it. The twist in life throws at you can be turned into valuable lessons. They are experiences that books cannot teach you. They certainly bring me to where I am today. However, in my generation, we are still able to make it without the paper chase. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the younger generation, as emphasis is there in an overemphasis on paper qualifications. In addition, we are now have to compete with non-Singaporeans for a place at school and at work. We need to amend our immigration policy, and that's why I'm standing in this election. The SDP wants to ensure that our population policy makes sense and we do not overcrowd Singapore with 6.9 million population that the PAP wants to push for. Since 2007, I have been a member of the Singapore Democratic Party. My main area of work has been in fundraising to support SDP many activities. In addition, I have organized events from the Hawaiian Night back in 2008 to SDP 30th anniversary and even the recent SDP 35th anniversary. All these events have helped not only to raise funds for the party, but more importantly, to reach out to Singapore to inform them about our party's values and policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaslyn. I now invite you to pose questions to the candidates.
How old is Ms. Ho?
18.
The whole internet knows that I'm 18. Okay, I am 43 this year. Thank you, Paul.
Doesn't she look 18?
Any other questions on the floor?
Issues will they be championing in Parliament if they're elected?
Paul?
Let me start. The obvious one that I'm most concerned about is healthcare. Other issues that I think are important that the people have brought up to us include education, the stresses and pressures of education, also population policy, and housing. These are the hot button issues that most Singaporeans tell us that they are concerned about.
But why do you want to champion these issues? What's the reason? Besides people telling you that.
Well, if people are concerned about it, that's the job of an elected representative. That's basically the way a parliamentary democracy works, is that the job of a representative is primarily to try and set the tone and the policy of matters which are going to affect their lives, the lives of their children, the lives of their parents. So we don't go there with a particular, your own personal pet peeves. But what we want to do is we want to represent the people, and this is what we've been hearing on our walkabouts. People are talking to us about the stress that their children face, about the costs of looking after their parents, and the tremendous pressures and overcrowding on infrastructure from an unbridled immigration policy. So I think we would be remiss if we didn't speak up for them, and that's the whole point about having the SDP as their voice in Parliament.
Maybe which area of healthcare would you be touching on, or do you think needs to be improved?
Well, I think the most important areas in terms of the financing of healthcare. As I mentioned, Singapore has very good healthcare. We've got really good doctors, we've got good nurses, we've got good allied health professionals, we've got excellent infrastructure. You know, you go to our hospitals, they're comparable to some of the best in the world. The trouble is that they're really, really expensive. The proposed MediShield Life, for example, the deductibles are still very high. They range from $1,500 to $3,000. So that covers the bulk of C-class hospitalizations. In other words, once MediShield Life starts, you still have to pay for your either out-of-pocket or through your MediSave for the bulk of your hospitalizations. In fact, thanks to a question that Gerald Giam raised in Parliament, we now know that the 3 M's of MediSave, MediShield and MediFund account for less than 15% of total health expenditure in Singapore. The rest of the 85% is primarily government health subsidies, as well as, which account for about a third of the healthcare expenditure, as well as out-of-pocket or employer-funded health insurance, and that is simply not sustainable. Companies are facing huge healthcare bills paying the insurance for their employees. So something needs to be done, and we think it's the SDP healthcare plan.
Okay.
Maybe for Jasmine?
Okay, as a mother of 2, I felt very, very strongly about our education policies. Day in, day out, you know, I witness children, not just my own children, but neighbors' children, my kids' classmates, parents were sharing the same experience. The education system in Singapore is really very stressful for the kids. Do we actually want our kids to grow up in this kind of stressful environment? I want our kids to grow up in an environment whereby they enjoy learning. They enjoy the process of learning and not just the ultimate goal of just achieving degree or diplomas. The children must enjoy the process of learning, and children must be given time to be children. So this is the area that I am most concerned with as a mother, and I hope I can speak up for the many mothers that share the same experience with me.
How old are your children?
My children is one is doing his PSLE now, and he's 12, and the younger one is 10.
Is it comfortable for you to speak in Mandarin about your concerns on education?
Yes， 我希望在身为一位母亲，很多人和我分享，很多母亲父母亲都跟我分享过，在新加坡读书的压力对孩子实在是太大了。我希望我进入国会的时候，我能去替这些父母亲、这些孩子们发表我们对这个教育的制度的教育制度的压力，对不起的压力。我希望我们能改善我们现在的教育制度。新加坡民主党我们有替代的教育政策，所以我希望我能为父母亲们、孩子们在国会贡献我们的那个替代教育政策。谢谢。
You mentioned that your eldest child is going to PSLE this year,
Correct.
and now you're going to be fielded as one of the SDP candidates. So how are you going to juggle both, like to prepare your older kids for PSLE and also as a candidate?
Yeah, I am starting to think that was that deliberate, but you know, okay. Thankfully, I have a very supportive husband who tell me to go ahead and do what I needed to do, and he will look after my kids during my absence. So may I take this opportunity to thank my husband for his support and tell him 辛苦了这2个礼拜。
school, can you share a bit of what you have in mind should you be elected as a parliamentarian to speak about healthcare? What alternatives do you have, say the scrapping of PSLE or O levels, the true train system, or something along that line?
You're talking about
Education.
healthcare or education?
About education.
Education. Yeah. What's your thought?
Seriously, putting our kids, 12 years old, having to take such a major national exam. Every year PSLE, you sometimes wonder whether parents are the one doing the exam or the children. This have to really be changed. I remember what I read in other countries, kids are not asked or not be tasked to take such examination on a national level at such a young age. So I hope this can be addressed.
I think the SDP has an education policy which is available online, and you'll see that we are moving away from high stakes exams at very young age. We've emphasized smaller class sizes. In Singapore, the children in the GEP get very small class sizes. We think if they think that's important for these gifted children, it should be important for all children. And all children should have access to teachers who are not stressed out by having so many students to look after, but are able to nurture the children, identify their strengths, their weaknesses, and help to build them up, rather than make them sit for one cookie cutter high stakes exam at the age of 12. It's all there in the policy, you can read it.
Do you think the government has done enough in terms of the immigration issues?
Let me start. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, you can say a few words.
Yeah, we can each say something. Yeah, I mean, I think that again, the government has made attempts to try and at least paper over some of the most serious issues with immigration. But from what I understand, they are trying to slow down the rate of increase. But the increase is still there. And we're not against immigration. Don't forget, Dr. Chi said the other day, Singapore is a nation of immigrants. See, what we want is people who are willing to assimilate, willing to contribute to our country. We don't want people who come here and use us as a stepping stone. And at the same time, we don't want to exploit the people who come here. Because immigration, don't forget, is not necessarily a zero-sum game. And what happens is that very often the people in power, especially those who are intent on preserving a system which protects the elite, they will bring in large numbers of low-wage immigrants to try and force wages down through downward pressure on wages. And both sides lose. The locals lose because their wages go down to a situation where they cannot afford the cost of living, and the immigrants lose because they are actually exploited in a way. So what we want to do is, SDP has long called for a minimum wage for everybody, for local workers and for foreign workers. This is something every developed country in the world has, and I don't understand why Singapore still doesn't have a minimum wage. So we've called for a minimum wage. We've also called for a talent scheme, which is actually one step up, a refinement on the Australian point system that they have, so that immigrants who can really contribute and who are willing to assimilate into the Singaporean sort of culture and society, we welcome them, because they can make Singapore a richer and more diverse place.
Thank you, Paul. And any other questions?
You've both been active with the party since 2011 or earlier. Why is this election the right time to stand and contest?
Well, it's the first election since 2011. So in a way, I mean, we didn't have a choice. But I guess, maybe part of your question is about
why
for
not
me
2011?
Yeah, 2011. Well, I had personal reasons why I couldn't get involved in 2011.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, back in 2011, I'm still relatively new to the party, so I didn't think I was ready back then. But today, standing here now, I can confidently say that I am ready.
Yeah, my father passed away in 2011.
Ms. Goh, you mentioned that you joined the party in 2007. So you said that in 2011 you were still relatively new?
Yeah. Relatively new to be standing as a candidate. That to me, I felt that back then in 2011 I was not ready yet. I would like to get myself ready. And these 4 years, since 2001 till now, I've been working very hard to get myself prepared, and the party have given me a lot of opportunity and a lot of confidence to prepare me for this election.
Can you talk a bit about these 4 years, 2011 until now, the experiences that you've collected that made you feel that you are ready?
I walk the ground, and I talk to people on the ground, which is why, after talking to them, I understand their concerns and their needs. And these concerns and needs actually motivate me to be standing up today, wanting to speak up for them and be their voice in Parliament. I have involved myself not just in the fundraising, I also represented the parties in various conferences, in events, and this exposure in public speaking also helped build up my confidence as well.
Where is Dr. Chi today?
Is it
In the office.
Yeah, we're all busy, all right?
There's so many things happening.
Yeah.
The elections department has just come up with a whole new set of rules. So we have to try and adjust
comply.
We have to comply. We have to make sure that the posters, all those are different from before. The ballot papers are different from before. It's a huge document, that candidate's handbook. So he's going through. Jeffrey has just been through it. Now he has to go through it again. The last thing we want to do is to have be disqualified on a technicality.
So we only have a couple of days, all right? We managed to collect the nomination papers this morning, all right? Today is the 26th, and I only have until the 28th to submit my political donation certs and my minority certs. So there's no really much time for us to get these things done. So everybody's quite busy here, right?
So can we presume that Dr. Chi will not be hosting all the follow-ups?
I wouldn't assume anything.
On the election rules, can I get your comment on the new police permit conditions that were released today? Namely, the 2 points.
Yeah.
The easier one being that there should be no concealment of faces, and the
Yeah.
second one being that no member of a political party should speak at the rally of another political party unless you are both on the same slate.
On the first point, I don't see really an issue for us. I mean, I don't really understand why we need to conceal our faces to be, for a point to be raised in a police permit. But in any case, we can comply. And on your second point, well, I can understand where they come from, but I don't understand the rationale. Why would they introduce such a merit into this permit application? But it does not affect our planning and execution of rallies during this stage.
I think the police cited the reason being safety concerns in case of overzealousness of supporters of the different parties.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot in a lot of laws they've implemented. So yeah, what do you do?
So it
Right,
will not affect the SDP's own rally preparation.
No, it's not gonna. Our people we have on our slate, our supporters, we have never had any issue before. Well-qualified people, the voters, the supporters that we have, they are stepping forward to help us, are all in good spirit. They're helping us get the groundwork done and all that. I don't see any reason there will be any incidents. There hasn't been any. There won't be any on my watch. Yeah. Anything else?
Josie, maybe could you also talk a bit about the company that you run with your husband? What is it? What industry is it?
We are in the construction industry, and our company has been around since 2004. What else do you want to know?
Is it you and your husband?
Yes, the company was started out by the both of us, but credit mainly goes to him. He's the one running the show, especially when I was on maternity leave. And he's running the operations side while I'm doing more on the sales. Yeah, but both of them. Yes, we are classified under the construction company.
So you mentioned you have a 10-year-old child.
I have a 10 and 12.
10 is also a boy.
My elder is a boy, my younger is a girl.
She was the one who chaperoned us during the SDP 35th anniversary dinner. That was Jacelyn's daughter.
Yeah.
She was a very good chaperone. She came and brought me up the stage, made sure I didn't get lost.
Can we have more information on your language abilities and also your education starting from your secondary school?
It's in the biodata. Right?
Yeah, it's in our biodata.
Yeah,
which
please
will be-
refer to all these questions is all there in the biodata. You know, Chinese name, you know, whatever you need is in there. Right? Is there any other relevant questions here for the GE?
Jaslyn, is it right to say that you joined, partly, I mean, one reason why that made you join politics is because as a mother of two, you see the education issues that you
Actually, back then when I joined SDP, what actually draws me to SDP back then was actually they were speaking up against the rising cost of living in Singapore, which as a new mother back then, I strongly feel, I felt very strongly for, because cost of living in Singapore is really very high. I worried for my children, how are they going to afford HDB? How are they going to afford to pay for a decent house? Having to compete, not just a place in school with non-Singaporeans, they also had to compete job opportunity with non-Singaporeans. So that was my concern, and because back then SDP was speaking up against all these issues, and that drew me into the party.
The information on the language abilities and the secondary school is not included in the bio.
Maybe later we can
Yeah,
include
Chris?
that in. Yeah.
Yep, we'll get that sorted out. Thanks.
How will you acquaint yourselves with running matters related to running a town council should you get elected?
Yeah, the SDP has a town council management plan, which is also on the website. And what is interesting is that the SDP, as you know, ran a couple of town councils in the 1990s. And there's some of our long-serving members who received long service awards in the 35th anniversary event. They were actually involved in running the town council. So as Dr. Chi has said, we'll be ready to hit the ground running. We're going to make sure that there's no $2 company that suddenly appears and tries to take away everything from the town council. That's for sure.
Which wards have you been visiting, and how many times have you visited the wards? Which different constituencies you have been
We have been walking all the constituencies.
The two GRCs and the three SMCs, we kind of take turns.
Yes.
The ground ops people have been, they plan our schedule for us. We just go where we're told to go.
Yeah.
In fact, for the media who wants to join us for our walkabout later, it will be 7:30 at Chinese Garden MRT.
Across the road, yeah.
MRT, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You who are this one.
Ihua,
We just don't relate the people running the ground and ultimately where their wards will be. All right. So our attitude here is we're going to do all the grounds. All right. All the candidates will do all the grounds until such time we will announce where they are headed to. Okay. Okay, people. Is there anything else here? We'll be ending this press conference at this stage. I thank you very much, and we'll see you at Yuhua this evening. Thank you. Good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
They'll send it to you.